Hi, hello, and welcome back to Peaches and Pages. I'm Danielle, and today I am going to be doing a book tag, the 54321 book tag. Now, I saw this actually on Instagram, I think, and I'm just going to, I'm sure people have done it on YouTube too, but I'm going to go ahead and use it for YouTube. Please excuse my swollen red eye. It is allergy season here, and they are getting me bad, like real bad. So without further ado, if I tear up, it's not because I'm sad. None of these things make me sad. These are all good things. I love talking about books, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. For 5, we're doing 5 books I love. So today I want to talk about Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. This is quite possibly my favorite YA fantasy series ever. It is phenomenal. It is basically a Arthurian legend retelling, but with black girl magic. It's phenomenal. Basically what happens is that Bree Matthews, she's 16 years old, and she ends up at UNC Chapel Hill because she's like uber smart, and she gets there and she also wants to unravel the mystery of her mother's death because her mom died very mysteriously, and was very against her going to UNC Chapel Hill even though her own mother went there. So she's got this whole thing where she wants to uncover why her mother doesn't want her there and what's going on with that. So she gets invited to be a part of this secret society called the Legendborn, and essentially they are the Knights of the Round Table. They fight demons, they fight like anything that's evil and whatever in the world, and you would think that would be a good thing, but there's some really sinister aspects to this whole secret society, and it's really fascinating. There is a love triangle that's actually done really, really well. There is some really great thematic things like racism and slavery, colonization, all things that would go around with African Americans, history. It's gonna come up in here, and it is absolutely phenomenal. And I highly recommend it. So if you have not read Legendborn yet, it is 2 books. I don't know how many books it's going to be. I know she's working on book 3, but Legendborn by Tracy Deonn is phenomenal. The second book is just as good as the first book. It does not have second book slump, so highly recommend this series. The next book on my 5 books that I love is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. Now, this one also is a series, and this one is a dark academia also, kind of, except this one is adult, and it follows Alex Stern. She, I mean, basically is this homeless high school dropout who is sent to Yale because she has this special ability to see dead people, and the secret societies need her. So she is basically sent there to help monitor the secret societies and make sure that everything is okay and they're safe from ghosts and boogies and whatever, you know? So the secret societies are tampering with some pretty heavy magic, and it is definitely dark. There, check your trigger warnings for this one. But I'm pretty sensitive, and I was able to get through it, and I still really, really love this. I love Alex Stern's character. I think she is just so admirable, and she's badass, and I really liked her a lot. And the secondary character, Darlington, we love Darlington. It is a whole thing. I read this with a group of friends, and it was an experience for us. We were all obsessed, and I don't know what else I could say about this. I love Ninth House. Loved Hellbent too, the sequel, and I'm not sure. I think it's supposed to be a 5-book series, but I'm not positive, so she's still working on the other books. Highly recommend. Book 3 out of 5 that I want to recommend is Frederick Backman by Anxious People. I loved this book so much. In fact, I'm due for a reread of it. You can see I tabbed just like favorite quotes. That's literally all it is favorite quotes, I think. Yeah, I only tabbed favorite quotes. It was just so beautifully written. It is a poignant, charming novel about a crime that never took place, a would-be bank robber who disappears into thin air, and 8 extremely anxious strangers who find they have more in common than they ever imagined. Looking at real estate isn't usually a life-or-death situation, but an apartment open house becomes just that when a failed bank robber bursts in and takes a group of strangers hostage. The captives include a recently retired couple who relentlessly hunt down fixer-uppers to avoid the painful truth that they can't fix up their own marriage. There's a wealthy banker who has been too busy making money to care about anyone else, and a young couple who are about to have their first child but can't seem to agree on anything, from where they want to live to how they met in the first place. Add to the mix an 87-year-old woman who has lived long enough not to be afraid of someone waving a gun in her face, a flustered but still ready to make a deal real estate agent, and a mystery man who has locked himself in the apartment's only bathroom, and you've got the worst group of hostages in the world. Each of them carries a lifetime of grievances, hurts, secrets, and passions that are ready to boil over. None of them is entirely who they appear to be, and all of them, the robber included, desperately crave some sort of rescue. As the authorities and the media surround the premises, these reluctant allies will reveal surprising truths about themselves and set in motion a chain of events so unexpected that even they can hardly explain what happens next. Humorous, compassionate, and wise, Anxious People is an ingeniously constructed story about the enduring power of friendship, forgiveness, and hope, the things that save us even in the most anxious of times. So, yeah, I don't know how to explain this one except that I absolutely loved it. It introduced me to Frederick Backman's writing. I tried to read the really popular one, what's it called? Beartown. That one, the triggers got to me and I had to stop reading it. But before I stopped reading it, one also phenomenal writing. So I definitely want to try some more of Frederick Backman's writing, because between Beartown and Anxious People, I know that I love his writing style. So if you're looking for one that's a singleton, though, I highly recommend Anxious People. I really, really enjoyed it. It was a beautiful look at humanity, and just, it's really good. Another book that I really love, and this comes as my number 4 spot. Actually, let me say these are not in order of how much I love them. It's literally the order I picked them up off of my shelf. So that is Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. I don't know how to say her last name. I should probably have looked it up before doing this video. But Outlander is, if you don't know what it is, it's about Claire Randall, who is basically thrust back into time into 1743 Scotland. So it takes place in 1945, and she's thrust back into 1743, where she meets Jamie Fraser, who basically rescues her. She leaves her husband behind there. She's there for, I don't even know how long, but yeah, she ends up, having conflicting feelings about Jamie, even though she's married, but she's stuck in the past. It's really good. If you haven't, I haven't watched the show yet. I don't know that I want to. The books are really good. Okay, I take that back. The first 4 books were really, the first 4 books were really good. They are chunkers. This is a big book, but I read this in no time flat. The first 4 books, I flew through them. And then I got to the 5th book, The Fiery Cross, and I have slowed down significantly with that one. In fact, I've considered DNFing it, but I've heard that the rest of the series is phenomenal as well. And if they're as good as Outlander, I need to get through this 5th book just so I can get to the other ones, because Outlander is amazing. I have reread it probably 5 times now, and it's one of my favorite books. And finally, number 5, Dr. Sleep by Stephen King. This is actually the sequel to The Shining. It follows Danny Torrance as an adult and a relationship that he forms with a child named, does it say, Abra Stone, 12-year-old Abra Stone. They have this unsettling connection because of The Shining that they both have. So I don't want to say that you have to read The Shining before you read Dr. Sleep, because you really don't. They're two separate stories, but it helps to understand what The Shining is and what Abra's going through before you get to this one. So, but basically this follows them, and there's like this group of people that are basically like killing off children that have The Shining. So, and it's interesting. It's real creepy, real creepy. I really enjoyed this one. I think I even enjoyed it more than I enjoyed The Shining, which is saying something. I really enjoyed The Shining. It's one of my favorite books. So to say that I might have enjoyed this one a little more is saying something. It definitely has Stephen King's more recent writing style. There's a little bit more science fiction-iness to it. I don't know. I find that his more recent writing style is easier to read even than his older writing style, if that makes any sense. I don't know if it does, but yes, this one is years ago. The haunting of Overlook Hotel nearly broke young Dan Torrance's sanity as his paranormal gift known as The Shining opened a door straight into hell. And even though Dan is all grown up, the ghost of the Overlook and his father's legacy of alcoholism and violence kept him drifting aimlessly for most of his life. Now Dan has finally found some order in the chaos by working in a local hospice, earning the nickname Dr. Sleep, by secretly using his special abilities to comfort the dying and prepare them for the afterlife. But when he unexpectedly meets 12-year-old Abra Stone, who possesses an even more powerful manifestation of The Shining, the two find their lives in sudden jeopardy at the hands of the ageless and murderous nomadic tribe known as the True Knot, reigniting Dan's own demons and summoning him to battle for this young girl's soul and survival. And yes, there's also a movie for this one. I loved the movie for this one. I thought it was really good, whereas I did not like the movie for The Shining. So take with that what you will. And those are my 5 books that I really loved. So this is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have 4 next. 4 is 4 auto-buy authors. And I do have some auto-buy authors. Some of them, yeah, I do have some auto-buy authors. So one of my auto-buy authors is Lyssa Kay Adams. She is the one who writes the Bromance Book Club. She has not written anything besides the Bromance Book Club, and I basically eat those books up. So the Bromance Book Club is about this group of men, and each story follows a different one of the men in the book club, and they read romance novels. And it is as cute as it sounds. They have fantastic personalities, and I love their characters, and yeah. That's about all I can say about it. So if Lyssa Kay Adams writes it and it's part of the Bromance Book Club, I buy it. Auto buy. Leigh Bardugo, the author of Ninth House, I buy everything she writes. So she is also the author of the Shadow and Bone series, the Grishaverse. So there's actually 3 different series in the Grishaverse. I own all of them. I've read all of them. She did Ninth House, and she just recently came out with a historical fantasy, because the woman can do it all, man. And I'm reading it right now, and it's actually really good. Am I surprised? No, because she's my auto-buy author. So Leigh Bardugo, the queen, we love her, and I buy everything she writes. Sorry, checking on my son. He is asleep, and I'm hoping he stays asleep while I finish filming this. Stephen King. Anytime that Stephen King has a new book come out, I buy it, and I am slowly collecting all of his older works too. I don't own all of them, but anytime I see one at the library on their like friends of the library book sales, I pick them up, especially dirt cheap. You can find so many of his books there. I don't know why people are always donating them, because they're amazing. But yeah, I have gotten most of my collection from there. A couple of them I've bought on Amazon that I really wanted to read right then and there. And I have a pretty decent collection of them. So, but any new ones that he comes out with, because he comes out with at least 1 or 2 a year, I feel like, I buy them. He's an auto-buy author. I love Stephen King. I love his writing. Even if it's not a book that, like Carrie was a 3-star read for me. Most of his books are 4 or 5-star reads for me. Every once in a while there's a 3-star read, but a 3-star read is good too. So I'm willing to take the risk and buy the book. And number 4 is Sarah J. Maas. I am in the process of reading Throne of Glass. I've read all of ACOTAR, and I have already purchased the Crescent City books. I have not purchased the 3rd one because I am waiting for it to come out in paperback, because the first 2 I have are in paperback. But as soon as it's in paperback, I'm buying it, because I really enjoy her writing. Even when I'm not loving it, I'm enjoying it. So she's an auto-buy author for me as well. I really do enjoy her series and her world building. And 3. So 3 favorite genres. And I do pretty much read exclusively from 3 genres, and those genres are fantasy, romance, and literary or contemporary fiction. So you'll notice that most of my books on here are, yeah, fantasy, literary, nonfiction. That's a strange one. I've got a couple of thrillers on here, but honestly, I don't love thrillers. I like reading them at the time, but they don't stick with me, and they're not something that I like hold on to. So thrillers are not really a favorite of mine, even though I do like to read them. I much prefer fantasy, romance, and literary fiction. So yeah, and then two places you read. One of them is my couch. You'll notice that I have lots of videos on my couch, and I had been reading in my bed a lot, but I recently started sleeping in my son's bed because we're trying to get him used to sleeping in his own bed, and we co-sleep. So I've been reading a lot in his bed lately instead of my own, which is why in vlogs you will see that I am not taking video of me reading in bed because it is dark and I can't have a light shining in his eyes while he's trying to sleep. So yes, I read in my son's bed and I read on the couch. And one book you promised to read soon, and that is Queen of Shadows by Sarah J. Maas. I am working my way through the Throne of Glass series. I recently posted my Throne of Glass Part 1 vlog. You can see it up here, I think, or up there. I don't know. I will link that down below as well. But I am working my way through it, and I promise to read Queen of Shadows really soon. I'm taking a little break from the Throne of Glass world, but I will be back to it. I plan on finishing it this year, and yeah, that's all I have to say about that. So that is my 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 book challenge. And I am going to tag 3 friends to go ahead and participate in this. I think it was a lot of fun finding answers to these prompts, and I'd love to see your answers too. I'm going to tag Kat at Kat and Too Many Books, Angela at Angela Danielle Social, and Maeve at Maeve Ever Books. And if you are watching this and I didn't tag you, please feel free to consider yourself tagged as well and answer the prompts and tag me so that I can come and watch it. Also, if you don't want to make a video and you just want to answer the prompts, go ahead and do that in the comments below. I'd love to see your responses, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.